When we turn the corner with the motor vehicle, every corner we take is a transition curve. Think about it, as we turn the wheel, we first of all start doing a very broad radius curve, then we progressively tighten the curve till we get to the point of full lock, and at that point the vehicle is doing a minimum radius curve, and then we progressively straighten the wheel up again until the point where we're going straight ahead. That's a transition curve, and that's what we're going to be doing on our model railway. Here's a quick look at one of my transition curves. To look at it, you wouldn't know that this transition curve had an 18-inch minimum radius. It's very important when you build these that the two tracks must be a bit further apart on the curve than what they are on the straight to allow for overhanging carriages. To understand our transition curve, let's start off with a compass and a sheet of paper, and we'll draw ourselves a circle. We know that circle has got a set radius. In our particular case we're going to call it 18 inches. And we also know that any point at all upon that circle, the radius will always be 18 inches. Now we draw a square around our circle. We can now take the circle away and we'll still be left with the same dimensions. Let's now expand this out so that the entire frame is filled by the top left hand corner segment. Now it's time to mark up the left hand side and the top side, dividing it up into equal segments. They can be whatever size you like. Normally about 1 inch works quite nicely. For our illustration here I've used 14 segments. Then number them starting from the bottom left hand corner up to get to the top. You can see here starting at 1 going up to 14. Now let's mark out the top segment, ignoring the top left hand corner, starting at number 1 moving through to number 14. Here's the fun part. Using a ruler, join up 1 to 1. Then join up the number 2 to number 2. Then continue on 3 to 3, 4 to 4, and so on until you get up to 14. Hopefully by now you can see the outline of the transition curve. You can see the difference when we lay a normal curve over the top of our transition curve. On your full size sheet of paper, don't start off marking from the very corner. Start about 2 inches in if you're doing single track, or if you're doing double track, make it at 4 to 5 inches. Let's mark it up. And it's the same on the top. Now we mark it up, as I said, in about 1 inch segments. If you don't want to go to the bother of erasing the whole lot with a pencil eraser, I use a leather hollow punch set. Just pick out a fairly small one, and you can turn around, not on your kitchen table, make sure you've got a bit of scrap wood underneath it, and just punch out holes about 1 inch apart, so when you put it down on top of the poster board you can then mark through onto the wood underneath. It's very, very handy if you're doing L-girder framework. You can actually build up your bench work and you can use this just to mark your track position on it. You can use your bigger 6-foot weigh gauge just to mark the position of the outside track. But remember, this gauge is insufficient for the curves. You put it down there and you have to increase it by ½ inch. So go to the point of the curve, mark it, then give it another ½ inch, and then that is where you're going to actually mark the outside track. So then bring the outside track round, just progressively bring it back halfway through it, bring it back 1/4 inch, and then join them up so you've got a wider curve here so that the carriages don't touch one another. Then you can draw in the track bed, and using a sharp pair of scissors you can cut out a template that you can use on the track bed itself. Once you've made up your template, you can use it to accurately cut the wood pieces for your benchwork. Here's the Peco 6-foot weigh gauge. It's actually 2 inches between the tracks. As you can see at this point here, there's 2 inches, but as the track goes around the corner, so we've had to broaden it out. I normally have 2 inches between the tracks, but on the curve we've broadened it out. You can see on the Peco weigh gauge how it's been broadened out there. Use a steel rule on there, and I've brought it out to 2.5 inches. That's just right for the long wheelbase coaches that I occasionally use. I've designed the layout to have a bare minimum clearance on the curves, mainly because it's a fairly small layout. I'm just utilising the space as best I could. Here's how it looks in practice. Because the plane goes smoothly into the curves, you don't really notice the really sharp apex of the corner. And this is how it looks using the trains that I usually run.